And welcome back here to the Chick-fil-A Invitational as we get ready to bring you the nightcap here on day one at Tucker High School. I'm Marcus Burnett, joined here in the broadcast booth by Lewis Preston. Coach, we've had a great day of basketball here so far. I think it's always nice when you can tip off or when you can end it on with a Miller Grove matchup here on court.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think the most important thing is seeing what type of energy that Miller Grove is going to come out with. And you know, Glen Hills, for them, this is, could be a game that changes their season. So, should be a great matchup.
Glen Hills out of the Augusta area. And what I like about matchups that feature Augusta teams is the fact that, you know, Augusta has its own brand of basketball, its own tradition, its own style, and they love to be able to showcase that style against teams in the Atlanta area here on this stage.
Definitely. It gives them a great opportunity to show what they're about. You know, Atlanta has its own unique brand. Augusta has its own unique brand. You know, the largest city in the state versus the second largest, so it's a lot of competition here tonight.
That it is, and we talk about Augusta. You can't really say that city without thinking about Colin Young as it relates to this game. He knocked down that jumper there along the baseline for Miller Grove. In from Laney, transplant there from that Augusta team last year.
Yes, he is. But, you know, once again, Sharman White's done a great job of really developing his talent. And I tell anybody, when you can win 6 championships in 7 years, that's saying a lot.
Most definitely. The numbers speak for themselves. That number, Coach might not be happy about the first turnover of the game for Miller Grove, so it'll go back over to Glen Hills, who will inbound it. They'll get it into number 1, Franklin C.J. Bowers. He's got Aaron Augustin in his face for the majority of the night.
Once again, one of the things you got to know about Miller Grove teams, they are going to really get up into you, and they get a steal right there. Oh.
Jackman in and out.
Yep.
Josh Jackman, one of those players, you know, they play well defensively as a team, but he's definitely a pace setter when it comes to that defensive intensity and being in your face.
You know, one of the main things about Miller Grove, they use their defense to help, you know, translate into offense with them with fast break points, easy layups. They weren't able to convert right there, but, you know, Glen Hills has got to take better care of the ball.
That is a must-have. They'll be fouled on the floor there. I believe that's going to go against Jackman.
Glen Hills right now playing the old-fashioned flex offense, one of the hardest offenses to defend. So it'll be interesting to see what type of adjustments that Miller Grove's going to make tonight.
Splitting the defense there as Bowers has the ball poked away. It'll be tied up. As Jackman had a firm grasp on it as well. Possession arrow will keep it with Glen Hills.
You know, on that last play right there, Raylan Richardson did a great job, number 4, of really hedging out on the ball screen and causing them to, you know, potentially get a turnover. It didn't work out that way, but got a jump ball.
Colin Young blocks that one out of bounds. You know, I had the conversation with my good buddy out of Augusta, Chad Cook, a great source for all things Augusta basketball. Some question Colin Young's transfer in from Laney to Miller Grove. Would he get playing time? It's a crowded backcourt over there. Is it a good move? And we talked about the tools that he has to where it's almost a ludicrous question. He was able to contribute on a Laney squad that was very solid when you look at those guys. Mm-hmm. Why would Miller Grove be anything different? I think as they approach the brunt of their season, him being in the starting lineup kind of speaks for itself in terms of that transition.
I think it not only does it speak a lot about Colin Young's ability, you know, one of the things you got to give him credit for is coming into a new program, a successful program, and adjusting to their style. Al Tariq Gilbert with the 3 in the corner, doing what Al Tariq does.
You know, you got a pretty talented team and a pretty good matchup. I think when you go a couple minutes into a game and you haven't mentioned Al Tariq Gilbert yet. Mm-hmm. As he splashes that 3-pointer from the corner, the UConn signee having a great season so far in the Mr. Basketball conversation for Georgia.
Definitely. It's really interesting to see how, you know, Glen Hills continues to play this flex. Ended up getting into the paint right there, getting the score right there by number 3, Robert Drew.
Drew's going to make it 4-5. Jackman into Young. Young fouled on the play. You know, we talked about Young getting in where he fits in terms of this squad. I think people knew he could shoot around the state and that he has good size, you know, in terms of the airport test. But I think his physical play has been very impressive for Miller Grove. You know, you look at him, aside from being a guard, now he's one of their, you know, larger wings that can be able to guard some good people on offense, but also be able to score against some of those people in the interior as well.
You know, Marcus, I think one of the most important things with a Colin Young, with his size and his ability, you can play him in a variety of different ways, offensively and defensively. You can go smaller, you know, to maybe get even more up-tempo, and that's funny for me to say about Miller Grove. But, you know, offensively as well, he can play the 4. Maybe he can be a pick-and-pop 5. Just all depends.
A lot of options available to Coach Sharman White here for Miller Grove as we have a timeout. It is a 6-4 ball game. We'll take a timeout with them. When we get back, we'll bring you more from the Chick-fil-a invitation. We are back out of the timeout. Glen Hill's currently trailing by 2, but not for long as they get that one to go off the window.
Robert Drew did a great job right there getting into the paint, being able to get that layup.
He's got the last 4 points for Glen Hills. Now they're running the fast break. He's going to be knocked out of bounds as Jackman in hot pursuit of that one.
You know, Marcus, one of the things watching the different games today have been how teams haven't necessarily taken advantage of their opportunities of having mismatches with numbers. Glen Hills did a good job right there. Miller Grove with a great recovery on D.
Quante Hardy checks in and checks into the box score as well there with his first points of the game, making it 6-8. It's saved, but unsuccessfully as it will go over to Miller Grove.
Once again, Miller Grove got into their full court defense after a score right there, caused Glen Hills to get sped up and causes the turnover.
It's always tough with Miller Grove because you got to be able to have a good start in order to not let them pull away. But then we've seen teams come out and play a very solid 2.5 or 3 quarters of basketball and it not be enough. You kind of got to just take it in chunks, play by play, continue to play hard to stay within striking distance, but also have enough in the tank to get over the hump.
Absolutely. Once again, Glen Hills with the rebound, getting it out in transition. Good finish right there by number 1, C.J. Bowers.
He's going to be a key part of anything that they were able to do successfully here today, whether it's scoring or making plays for others. Here he got the steal. And just in terms of being able to handle that Miller Grove pressure, it all starts at that point guard position.
It definitely does.
If he's not a cool customer, things aren't going to go well. Dishes it inside there. It's going to be finished. Corian Bird.
Al-Tariq doing what Al-Tariq does. Once again, you know, pushing in the transition, getting into the paint, getting the three-point play opportunity right here.
See, and that's what's so daunting about this Miller Grove team, because when you look at Aaron Augustin, you look at Colin Young, we talked about Naquante Hard, who came in, got his points. Aiden Saunders has had a good season for him off the bench as well. You're looking at multiple pieces to where a lot of times you'll see Tariq Gilbert get others involved, move it around, and then when it's time to pick his spots to attack, just kind of does it in a real easy button kind of way.
Really does. And you know what? That's also a great sign of a championship team because they can beat you in a variety of ways. Once again, they're using their full court transition defense. Once again, creating offense. Scoring right there by Augustin.
Aaron Augustin, the double-A battery there. You saw there on that last play, plenty of energy on the defensive end and can turn it into offense in a blur. I think Glenn Hills, I give them credit, it's a 10-12 game. I like Franklin C.J. Bowers and how he's handling things. That last turnover aside for Glenn Hills, they're doing a pretty decent job in withstanding the pressure here early on.
One of the things Miller Grove's done a great job of, the last 4 defensive possessions for them, they caused 3 turnovers. Once again, getting into the paint, the double-A battery, Augustine with the layup.
Picks up a, I won't call it a silly foul, but an unnecessary one right there. Angle was all wrong, and that's a foul that he probably won't have to worry about because he does a pretty good job of staying out of foul trouble. But just an unnecessary one. You don't want to pick that up. Especially now with the angles these guys normally take and the reinforcements you've got coming over as well.
Absolutely. One of the things that Glenn Hill's coach has got to be concerned about is he don't want this game to get too far away from him in the first quarter. Probably has a number he has in mind to go into the end of the first quarter feeling good. Tough three-point shot right there. Got Al Tariq on the break.
Nice defense by Glenn Hills as they're able to thwart that pass attempt. Long sweeping drive there. Couldn't fall for him.
Miller Grove on the fast break, seeing if they got numbers. Kind of forces it in there. But Hardy's going to go to the line to shoot 2.
Glenn Hills are right there. It's a 4-point game. And you look at that last 3-point shot they took. You can't play tight against Miller Grove. You really kind of got to be able to seize the moment, really be in attack mode. So I kind of like the inspiration behind taking that 3 in terms of, hey, let's attack, let's do what we do. But then you also got to watch it because missing those types of threes is going to put you in a very tough position in terms of stopping those breaks.
It's going to put you in a tough position in transition defense. And one of the things about Miller Grove, like we said earlier, they like to use defense to create easy offense for them.
It's a thin line, man. You got to be able to have a little bit of go-getter in you to come away with the win tonight. You want to be in attack mode. But you also got to balance that out with making sure you play a smart enough game to still be in it.
Once again, Miller Grove's picking up in that 1-2, 1-1 full-court defense. See how Glenn Hills can take and answer this.
We covered the Chick-fil-A Classic in Columbia, South Carolina last week. I was talking with one of our commentators, and he mentioned how one of his old coach buddies said, you don't ever have to call this team the best. Just point him to whoever you think is the best, let them play, and then give him a litmus test or an assessment from there. I think when you're looking at playing a team like a Miller Grove, you're looking to be able to go 1-0, win that game, but it always helps to play against a team that's regarded as the best, that plays a national schedule, just to be able to see where your team stacks up.
Absolutely. Right now you see Miller Grove's imposing their will defensively with their full court and half court defense. Glenn Hills is struggling with it a little bit right here. See what they can do to kind of negate it. Get a good strong drive to the basket, resulting in a foul on Miller Grove.
Hard-earned drive right there. It's Corian Bird.
Marcus, one of the most underrated stats, I think, when you start looking at teams is points off of turnovers. Right now, just looking at the fact Miller Grove has 18 points, easily 10 of their points have come off of turnovers up to this point.
That's a great point. Green Forest Christian Academy, one of the more dominant teams, in my opinion, the most dominant team in the state. Up to this point, they lost in the Chick-fil-A Classic Championship to 7th Woods and Hammond School, and a big part of it was because they weren't able to get the normal points off turnovers that they do over the course of a game. Hammond took care of the ball, they attacked when they needed to, and they didn't make mistakes that Green Forest could turn around and capitalize off of.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that is Captain Obvious. If you don't turn the ball over as much, you put yourself in a good position, but just underscores the importance of that stat you mentioned.
It definitely does. Definitely does. Miller Grove once again pushing out in transition. Weren't able to finish on the layup right there, but once again, doing a great job of getting it up the floor. Last 10 seconds of the quarter here. Glen Hill's bringing it over half court.
Tough shot. That's going to do it for the first quarter. It is a 6-point game. The Miller Grove Wolverines leading Glen Hills. Out of Augusta, we'll take a short break. When we get back, more from the Chick-fil-A Invitational here at Tucker High School.
Seconds inbound pass to Marbury as he works on the defense of Johnson, dribbles by Robinson, takes it to the baseline, running jump shot, good! 2 seconds left.
Second quarter is underway. Marcus Burnett joined by Lewis Preston. Lewis going to ask you to put your coaching hat on here, man. Your coach Sharman White. What were your takeaways from that first quarter in terms of how your team came out?
I think they came out with great energy, especially on the defensive end. I think they missed a couple easy layups there in the first quarter, but now they start out the second quarter getting a charge right there on the baseline. Once again, going back to his staple of what's made them very successful is their defense in the full court as well as in the half court.
Now we flip this and go over to the Glen Hills coaching staff. What's your your outlook on being down 6 points here in the second quarter?
Got to feel really good about that. They're going to have to do a much better job of making great decisions versus their pressure, as opposed to catching it down in the deep corners, maybe catching it in the middle of the court and getting the ball over half court to where you got some advantages in the half court. But once again, easier said than done.
Yeah. Gilbert can't get the second free throw to go. Checking back into the game for Glen Hills will be 23, Corian Bird. Bird back in. And third free throw good for Gilbert.
Once again, getting back into that full court defense, and they keep catching it in that coffin corner right there, Marcus.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Best way to describe that, coach uses a timeout to extend some sort of lifeline there.
What I mean by the coffin corner right there is when you catch it below, when you take and catch it below that line to where you got the baseline and the sideline as well as two defenders. Once again, you're putting yourself in a world of hurt. Old coaching term right there, coffin corner.
Unless you have Houdini on speed dial, going to be tough to get out of there. And over there in the corner, you see Coach James Harchie, who Tucker Tiger just got a victory, greeting one of his former players, and Bryce Brown, who's having a good season out there for Coach Bruce Pearl at Auburn.
Glen Hills gets it in, gets it to the middle of the floor, looking to attack, gets a foul on Miller Grove.
And you notice Franklin C.J. Bowers is on the bench right now. Coach also being smart, realizing, hey, I want him out there as much as possible, but I can't burn him out too early in this game with the way that Miller Grove applies his pressure. So getting them some useful minutes of rest right now.
And the one great thing about Miller Grove is not only are, they have great size, they have great depth. So they can just keep bringing bodies at you.
Able to keep that in was Glenn Hills. Bird did a good job of looking the defense off. Teammate not ready for the pass.
Once again, speeding you up, getting you uncomfortable, getting you in unfamiliar territory. That's easily the 7th or 8th turnover right now by Glenn Hills due to the pressure.
They make you think fast, speed the game up there. Bird did a good job of making the right play. Made a good-looking pass. And I think it comes down to, even if you execute, you play the fundamentals, the X's and O's, as Tariq Gilbert goes baseline, slams that down. I can shoot, but don't sleep. I can jump too, as he says with that one. It comes to a point where certain teams, Lewis, you're just going to have to make some good plays when it comes down.
Absolutely. And once again, Miller Groves making those great plays. Missed the layup right there. But once again, being unselfish with the basketball and making the right decisions.
Strong take there, lowering the shoulder and able to get it to go. That's number 10. That's C.J. Reed.
Once again, the game's gotten into a little bit of a helter-skelter pace. Don't know if Glenn Hills wants to keep up with that type of pace. This is kind of Miller Groves style of play right here on both ends of the floor.
This is Tariq Gilbert's style of play. They bite on the jumper. You can jump, kid. Tariq Gilbert, man, the Huskies are going to love him up there in stores.
Absolutely. You know, one of the great things about Kevin Ollie being a former guard himself, he will help to develop him in all facets of his game to adjust to that level and that style of play in the American, in the AAC.
Talked about Augusta connections. Ricky Moore there on that coaching staff for UConn, an Augusta native. Sure, they jump for joy collectively when Tariq Gilbert was able to sign there. Really fits the mold well when you look at, you know, Kimball Walker, Shabazz Napier, some of their more recent guards to come out of there and go pro.
Definitely, definitely. It's one of those things where they don't get caught up in size. They get caught up in heart and toughness. Mm-hmm. One of the things I can say about number 3, Tariq, he has heart and toughness.
And you look at that run Kimball Walker had where, you know, he, with Jeremy Lamb, the Norcross native out of right here in this area, where they made that run to that national championship. Walker, just a hard guy to stay in front of, could create space and get to that mid-range of that jump shot whenever he wanted to. You see that same common thread in Tariq Gilbert's game. You
definitely do. And then to also have the ability to knock down shots is even more special.
5-second violation going to go against Miller Grove. Glenn Hills down by 7, still right here in striking distance.
I think Sharman White feels right now they got a chance to take that next step against them to get some separation. He's on his guys even harder than he was at the beginning of the game, kind of telling them to seize the moment. Richardson with a nice spin move there, gets the foul, is going to be shooting 2.
You see Coach just trying to kind of encourage his players to just put their arms up there. You got Raylon Richardson going to try to hit a very tough shot. If he hits it, he's hanging in the air, coming close to a double pump. Really just get your hands up, focus on boxing him out because he's coming for that rebound versus sending him to the line there.
Absolutely. He's one of those, I like to call him one of those spurtability jumpers. He's that guy that gets you on that second or third jump to get the offensive rebound. Sometimes he throws it up there to go to take and go after it.
Good on the free throw.
Once again, picking up in that 1-2-1-1. You hear a lot of different coaches call this 55. You hear them call it diamond press defense. Once again, you get it to the middle of the floor, that's to your advantage. Glenn Hills gets it to the middle of the floor.
Colin Young close to getting called for a foul there. No call, but Glenn Hills gets the offensive rebound.
You know, Corian Burr's done a great job getting on the glass for them. It's like his 3rd offensive rebound already early in the game. Playing with a lot of passion out there. Not intimidated by the moment whatsoever.
Not at all. And usually when a guy has that gauze that indicates stitches or a tough cut of some sort, 9 times out of 10, he's a pretty tough guy. He's out there playing like it. And that's what it's going to take for him to be able to pull this one off.
You're definitely not getting that type of cut walking through the mall.
And if you are, change malls. Pass ahead to Raylon Richardson. Richardson with the easy two-hand flush.
Once again, Miller Grove using that full court defense to once again create easy transition offense.
Lead is now 11. I'm not seeing Franklin C.J. Bowers have his hands on the ball enough here in some of these half-court sets.
I definitely agree with you on that. He's kind of been the guy that stirs the drink for him. Once again, they get into that trap. Almost get a turnover right there. Glenn Hills got lucky. One of the things, Marcus, a lot of people don't understand, when you're watching Miller Grove play with this much energy and passion on defense, it's almost like it's 7 guys out on the floor from Glenn Hill's perspective. They just got to be stronger, more confident with the ball and make better decisions.
And it's a tricky thing. That's where you like that confidence because, even there in some of that frantic pace, they had a player wide open for a 3, but like you said, with the way they're defending, it's almost like it's 6 or 7 guys out there instead of 5. Even the open guy made you hesitate for a second because of that pressure being in your face. And it's a tricky thing with that confidence. Sometimes you got to have confidence to take certain shots that might not be orthodox, might even be those coach saying no, 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 good shot type of plays. But it takes that to be able to defeat, certain teams like Miller Grove, especially when it's just a tough matchup on paper.
And one of the things is when you don't have too many of those oh, no, no, yes, yes shots, that means you're not going to win a lot of games.
Yeah. I even look at a player like a Russell Westbrook, and I understand some feel like he's not a true point guard or, he's just an uber athlete that they throw at the point guard position, whatever you want to call it. He's going to take some shots that make you scratch your head. But he's also a go-getter that's going to do a lot more positive than he does negative. You got to take some of those bad shots along with it.
You definitely do. You definitely do. Raylan Richardson doing a great job running the floor right there. Ended up getting rewarded on a great hustle, going to the line to shoot 2. If you're the Glenn Hills coach right now, you got to be concerned. 9 is starting to creep up into that double digit. Once again, as a coach, you always got a number that you want in your head going into halftime. Just knowing your squad, knowing your team, Miller Grove, once again, can impose their will on you in a variety of different ways and with a variety of different lineups.
Head coach Travis McCray for Glenn Hills, seeing his team currently down 10. Miller Grove threatening to send things into the teens. Richardson good on the second free throw.
Once again, Miller Grove backs off the full court. Looks like that they might have something in the half court waiting for him. Once again, trapping just right there, right before half court. Richardson with the steal, with the flush. Making it look easy out here, fellas.
Richardson just dunking. I'm just going to stretch my arms out a little bit and get back on defense.
Looking like me about 85 years ago.
Hey, man, looking like me about 6 years ago, but on the video game. Richardson makes it 16-29. Subbing out for Glenn Hills is going to be C.J. Reed. Reed going to have a seat. (16-29).
Once again, the last few possessions, Glenn Hills has kind of played a little bit of a matchup zone, a little 1-2-2, trying to slow down Miller Grove a little bit. It's worked a little bit. I can't say it's been overly successful.
They still trail by 13. Bowers bringing it up. Now he'll pass it, but get it back. They'll get it across the timeline. And it's tough because, as a guard or really as a teammate, you know your personnel. I know if I give this guy this ball in a certain setting, what he's likely to do with it, how he handles the pressure, what his strong suits are. So you got to have an instance to where some of your bigs or your wings, they got to flash right there to the elbow area. You got to get them the ball because you have no choice with that double coming. But they have to make sure that they're taking care of it because if you throw it there, you really don't have a margin for error to make sure you kind of get it back. You could throw it there and really end up having to get back on defense because it's another Miller Grove fast break.
on the, either that or you got to have eyes in the back of your head, because they're coming from everywhere. They're coming from blind side. They're, just running and jumping and trapping all over the place. Basically what Coach White is saying right now is, I am bigger, stronger, deeper, and I'm going to impose my will on you one way or the other. And Glenn Hills has got to figure out a way to be even stronger and make better decisions with the basketball.
At the DeKalb County Media Day, really on this very same floor at Tucker High School, talked with Josh Jackman and a few of the Miller Grove Wolverines. And, he mentioned watching some of the Miller Grove teams in the past. They're on that 6th straight state championship run, and how, his best way to put it was that they were dogs on the court in terms of really being able to get in you on the defensive end, trying to impose their will, which they were able to do successfully for years. And he talked about really playing in a way that represents that mantra for the program.
And I think that's something, when you created a championship dynasty, in that way you can do those types of things. You've seen some other coaches in this state, Eddie Martin, do it at Norcross, do it at GAC. You've seen Doug Luscombe do it at Wheeler. They just impose their brand of basketball. Sharman White has his own brand of basketball. And his guys have completely bought in 100%.
Tariq Gilbert with another dunk, his second one here in the game. Don't let the height listing in the stat book fool you, man. The kid can jump. And most of his jumping exploits are shown on the defensive end. He loves being able to jump up and catch one in terms of blocking shots. Wilson gets a bucket for it, Miller Grove.
Absolutely, going coast to coast for him. Once again, Miller Grove's defense is speeding up Glenn Hills and getting them into a rhythm that they're not comfortable in playing. Once again, Miller Grove doing what they do best.
Gilbert working along the baseline, drops the dime to Colin Young. Young with the lay-in. He got their first bucket with a mid-range jumper there. He gets the layup to make it an 18-point advantage as we approach the 30-second mark.
Once again, quick shot. George Wilson gets the rebound and ends up getting fouled.
I mean, you just look at it. We talked about some of the nuances of this matchup, some of the keys to the game for Glenn Hills. And the last thing we want to do is sound like Miller Grove homers, but I'm of the school of thought. I call a spade a spade. Some of the key dynamics you're going to run into when you play a team of this nature, that's just the reality of it. And it's the same way the coaches look at it when they assess what their team needs to do to win. Glenn Hills has made a valiant effort, but at this time they're getting the short end of the stick. And halftime can't come soon enough to get a breather, regroup, try to see if you can get back into this game.
I agree with you. Corian Bird with the score right there. Doing a great job, playing with great passion, playing, really attacking the basket for him.
Yep.
Really the only one attacking the basket for Glenn Hills.
And who's on the floor to grab that ball and wrestle it away from Frank the Tank for Miller Grove? Right there, it's Bird. This is Raylon Richardson coming to a rim near you. One of a few dunks there in the first half. Miller Grove up big here at the Chick-fil-a Invitational. We'll be back after half.
I'm Dr. Sophia Khan. I'm Chief of the Emergency Department. I'm also the Medical Director, and I'm proud to lead our emergency team of doctors here at Hillendale. Our primary goal at Hillendale is to provide the highest level of quality care. In an effort to provide that care, we've recruited several chief residents. All of them have extensive training. I feel confident that they can take care of all age groups and all types of medical crises. For me, that's the most important thing because I'm the chief of the emergency department, also the medical director, and I do work clinically and see patients, but when I'm not here, I feel confident that my patients are being taken care of by the highest level of quality care physicians. Our primary goal is the highest level of quality care, but even with that said, we still want to make sure that it is very efficient. In fact, in 2010, we were 50% better than the national average for emergency wait times. And what that means to you is that When you walk in through the front door, you're only going to be in that waiting room for less than 15 to 20 minutes. In fact, you'll see a nurse as soon as you check in so that we can immediately assess how serious your medical crisis is. Triage is a process where when you first walk in through the emergency department, a nurse sees you and vital signs are taken. What we've added at Hillendale is an extra step, which is the nurse not only takes your vital signs and discusses your complaints, but also begins your testing. So blood tests are drawn, x-rays are done, and in this manner we're able to see you quicker and more efficiently. That way when I walk into the room and I see you as a patient, I'm able to review your tests, including your blood tests and your x-rays. I can spend more quality time with you, help to discuss your symptoms, really alleviate your concerns, and help to make that accurate diagnosis.
I'm Shonda Kennedy. I'm the nurse manager for the emergency department and clinical decision unit. The way this emergency room is designed is so that we can directly visualize all of our patients in the main ED. All the ones in the cardiac rooms, we can actually see them. We have glass front doors. We can have curtains that close for privacy, but we can also slide them back so we can see all of our patients. We have trackers with our cardiac monitors on them, mounted on 42-inch monitors, one in the ceiling, one on the wall, so that we can see cardiac rhythms from any position in the main emergency department. We also have those same screens on the desk so that we can see cardiac rhythms at the nurse's station, and we also have them inside the room. We've increased our ambulance volume exponentially in just a matter of months, like 10 months or so. If they come by ambulance, we get a call ahead that they're en route with any particular type of patient, give us a report. We let them know, which room they're going to or which area they're going to in the emergency department.
I'm Sophia Khan, and I'm proud to be part of the cure for the common hospital.
The feeling of the perfect shot feels effortless to me. Right when I release that shot, it just feels serene and quiet. It's only me and the rim and the basketball. With my height, to have an impact and to be the player that I wanted to be, I needed to change my shot, and that was going to be something that would be beneficial for the long term. The process started just breaking my shot down from the initial release to the follow-through. And there were days that I couldn't even get the ball to the rim. There were days that I couldn't go outside of the paint area. It was very frustrating to not be able to shoot the way that I wanted to. The hardest part of that process was definitely the patience. But if I just stuck to getting better every day, eventually I would be able to shoot where I wanted to, anywhere on the floor. I went through some tough days, but found a way to just persevere and see it through. It starts with a great base and great foundation. It allows everything to feel perfect. I can do all things.
My name is Dr. Dominique Smith. I'm the chief of the medical staff at DeKalb Medical Hillendale, and I'm proud to be a member of the elite team of experienced physicians that are currently working at Hillendale. When the hospital first opened, there were many physicians that were already within the community that had very distinguished practices and chose to remain on staff and to continue serving the community. Many physicians decided to join this Hillendale community. Some were recruited, and many of the doctors that were recruited were previously serving as faculty and were highly regarded in their specialty. And they were brought to Hillendale to help to expand the depth and breadth of the medical staff. We have a diverse number of experienced cardiologists that have been recruited by some of the top medical centers to become faculty and on staff at their centers as well as Hillendale. We have experienced general surgeons that are at the cutting edge of their specialty in performing some of the latest techniques in surgery. We have urologists, vascular and endovascular surgeons that are doing some of the cutting edge techniques to help save patients' lives. Gynecologists that are performing laparoscopy for minimally invasive gynecologic procedures for most of the problems that affect women's lives. Experienced orthopedic surgeons that are doing a lot of the latest techniques for hip replacement, knee replacements, radiologists, podiatrists, just to name a few. When physicians work as a team, the outcome is always better for the patient. Working as a team and being able to discuss the care of the patient collaboratively means that there's going to be less medical errors and a better outcome.
Well, here at Hillendale, we do many common procedures. We do breast biopsy, hernia, gallbladder surgery, as well as more innovative techniques. For example, Dr. Smith, one of our very own, she does very advanced procedures, including the scarless laparoscopic hysterectomy. I choose to practice at Hillendale because of the quality of the doctors, the quality of the hospital, and the fact that I can give the best care possible for my patients right here at Hillendale.
Our doctors take great pride in the care we provide to our patients in this community. We're like a family, and it's the care and camaraderie we share that sets us apart from other hospitals. Many of our doctors live right here in the DeKalb community and can often be found sharing their expertise outside of the hospital after office hours. I'm Dr. Dominique Smith, and I'm proud to be a part of the cure for the common hospital.
How long does it take to change the game of basketball? To change the sport? Hours, days, years, decades? How about 0.4 seconds? Just like that, all of a sudden big ain't so big no more. Small ain't so small. And with the flick of the wrist, the step back three is the new dunk. Follow through is the new poster. Range is the new hang time. From the elbow to the rim, the threat now comes from everywhere. It's a new age for the game, a new era of champion. In the world, change takes time. In the universe, it takes eons. In this game, it only takes a second. Or less.
We're back here to start the second half. Glenn Hills with the ball. Looking to see what they drew up at halftime here. Offensive foul on a legal screen. Turning the ball over to Miller Grove. It's been a pretty smooth slate of games throughout the course of the day. Glen Hill's making a substitution. Look like they're starting out the second half, maybe in that matchup. Might be looking to do something else right here. Trying to do anything possible to slow Miller Grove down. Miller Grove giving it to Richardson up top. Looking to throw it over the top to Colin Young. Gets a turnover. Collier and Bird getting it over half court. Once again, Richardson hustling. Causing the turnover. Young with the finish. Once again, doing a great job of taking and turning their defense into offense. Bird with a nice spin move and finish for Glen Hills. Once again, Miller Grove gets it out, pushing it down the floor right away. Out to Rika up top, throwing it to Richardson down in the post. Going up against three guys. Oh, my goodness. Gilbert was trying to get a Sports Center top 10 play there. Instead, ball's turned over to Glen Hills. Cannot make those type of careless passes with not a lot of defense on you. Turns the ball over. Miller Grove has the ball. Once again, Augustin's got the ball up top. Swings it over to Jackson. Back up top. Once again, Richardson getting it into the middle. Turnover. Not bad right there by Glen Hills. Glen Hills just got to come down to the other end and figure out a way to capitalize off of that turnover. Once again, playing in a little 1-4 high. A little back screen, ball screen action for Bird. Good block right there by Richardson. Once again, Augustin on the fast break. A lot of contact there. No foul call. Glen Hills comes out with it. Glen Hills pushing it on the break. It's good. Bird goes up hard. Goes up hard. Once again, Richardson with another block. Glen Hills ball baseline underneath. It's really interesting to watch Glen Hills right now, kind of not playing with that pep, that swag that they had in the first half. You know, good teams like Miller Grove be able to sense that. Got to get that pop back. Got to get that energy. Good drive to the basket. Right there, Jordan Lord right there with the layup. Alterique gets the ball down. Oh, my goodness. Puts on a dribbling display. I think he went through the whole team and half the crowd on that layup right there. I'm just glad I'm not a cameraman right now. I would not have been able to keep up with him. One of the great things in not only watching Miller Grove play is they got a variety of different lineups that they can put out there, but one thing you know for sure, defensively, they're going to bring it each and every possession. They do not take possessions off. It's one of the things, having a chance to follow Sharman White in the time that I've been here in Georgia has been huge to see. Once again, Jackson with the steal, Jackson with the finish. Once again, they do not give up on defense. Got to make great passes, got to come meet the ball, got to do the simple fundamental things if you're going to be able to score against this team. There's actually a backcourt right there. Referees missed it. Help side defense right there by Richardson with the block. Glen Hills baseline out underneath. Getting it back up top. Got a little ball screen action. Miller Grove playing switching action on the ball screens. Once again, making every possession very difficult. Just very active and playing with a great amount of passion right there. Jackson, great hustle, knocks it off the Glen Hills player. Miller Grove ball. Subbing in for Joshua Jackson right now is Aiden Saunders. See if he can continue the great energy and play that Jackson brought to the floor. Once again, Glen Hills playing a zone, trying to extend Miller Grove out. Miller Grove's done a very good job of being able to get right there into the sweet spot, which is the middle. Turnover right there by Miller Grove. Once again, the double-A battery. Augustine gets the ball back. Passes it ahead to Colin Young. Gets fouled. Is going to be shooting two. Just really interesting right now just watching the two contrasting styles of both teams. You know, Glen Hills is trying to keep Miller Grove out of the paint. Once again, Miller Grove's able to get into those sweet spots. Miller Grove's doing a great job, not only defensively, but offensively making the extra pass and keeping the game really simple. Young misses that first free throw. He's coming up for the second free throw. Sub in. Colin Young comes out. Number 10, Hardy's in the game for Miller Grove. Once again, Miller Grove, once again, using that defense to create offense. Augustine can't take and make that long of a pass versus their pressure. I'd be really curious to see after this game the points off of turnovers. Easily, I think 30 of Miller Grove's 44 points right now have come off of turnovers. Once again, translating easy offense by their defense. Bowers being guarded by Augustine. Got Bird being guarded by Richardson. Once again, Miller Grove's pressure in the half court ends up knocking the bandage off of Bird's eye. Got a quick officials timeout right here. Looks like we're going to be able to go right back into play. Don't know if Bird has stitches or not, but he's in a lot of pain over there on the baseline. Got a couple different subs coming in. Number 33, Brandon Cox comes in for number 4 for Richardson. Richardson's been very active on both ends of the floor. Bowers got the ball up top, being guarded by Al Tariq. A lot of contact right there. No call. Got Cox right there with the layup off of the Augustine miss. Very quickly, Miller Grove's trying to make it once again a speed-up game. C.J. Bowers with a nice left-handed layup, something I haven't seen a lot here today. Once again, be really interesting to see how Glen Hills plays. You know, sometimes you just got to forget about the score and just go possession by possession. Nice move right there by Augustine's got to finish that. Cox is on the glass, doesn't finish as well. Bowers with the rebound, taking and pushing it ahead. Number 11, Farmer. Drew's got it up top. Foul on Miller Grove. Once again, looks like everybody's been subbed out for Miller Grove except for Gilbert. See what C.J. Bowers can do with Al-Tariq here up top. Careless pass leads to a turnover. Miller Grove ball on the side. Al-Tariq's got it up top once again. Glen Hill's in the 1-2-2 matchup zone. Got a nice drive right there. Couple missed chippies right there at the basket. Cox gets it. Got a 3-second call. Ball turned over to Glen Hills. C.J. Bowers getting it in, looking to get it over half court. Once again, this Miller Grove team's a very hard team to try to take and dribble through 1-on-4. You got to make great decisions with the ball. Al-Tariq, you know, a little fancy right there, but you know what? When you're up 22 points as a coach, you can only be so upset. Glen Hills is going back to the flex. Once again, Miller Grove's doing a great job of pushing them out of their comfort zone. Once again, another turnover by Glen Hills, which almost led to a 3-on-0 break right there for Miller Grove.
Glad to be back on with you, Lewis, man. It looks like Miller Grove has continued to roll in this one.
Yeah, they basically subbed their entire starting 5 out, but it looks like they haven't lost 1 ounce of energy in regards to the defensive end. I was saying earlier, Marcus, I like to see what the points off of turnovers are at the end of this game.
They get another possession. Tay Hardy makes the most out of it, splashing the mid-range J.
Looks like Miller Grove hasn't imposed their will on Glen Hills. They're not playing with the same fire, the same energy that they came out with in the first half. Seems like quarter by quarter they took something away from them. You know, and once again, that is a staple of a championship team, but that's also a staple of Miller Grove.
Yep. Strategically, they take away a lot of the things you like to do, try to make it as hectic of a pace and atmosphere as possible. They also, you know, physically speaking, a lot of electrolytes leave out of you as well when you got to go up and down, break the pressure, then try to score against the pressure if you're able to do it without a turnover. On top of that, you got to defend what can either be a track meet or a lot of transition buckets from Miller Grove as well.
And what's even crazier about that is, you know, Glen Hills is kind of like playing into their hands. And once again, quick shot right there is just as good as a turnover. Nice pass. Finish the basket right there. Hardy with the finish. Great pass right there by Saunders to end the third quarter.
25-50 is your score. Miller Grove rolling in this one. We'll be back for the fourth quarter after this break.
Seconds inbound pass to Marbury as he works on the defense of Johnson, dribbles by Robinson, takes it to the baseline, running jump shot, good! 2 seconds left.
Back here to start the fourth quarter. Miller Grove with the ball up top. Gilbert still staying in the game. Got Augustin back in. Got Colin Young back in as well. Looks like he's got his original starting 5 back out there. Colin Young with the 3 from from the wing. Once again, having a great all-around game from Miller Grove tonight.
Yes, he is from the very start. Got him on the board. Hasn't let up since. And relatively speaking, his stock has really risen, coming into this season. You were able to see him have a good season for Laney last year, but, you look at the events they played in and outside of Georgia.
Once again, Marcus, when you play that nationwide schedule, it gives you an opportunity to be seen by many eyes. Colin Young taking advantage of that opportunity as well as other players on Miller Grove.
You see him finish with that strong take there. It's now a 30-point advantage. That's Drew with it, being guarded by Augustin.
Young with the tap, Richardson with the steal. Foul on Glenn Hills.
You can just see the physical toll it's taking. You got to try to avoid Aaron Augustin, and then meanwhile, Raylon Richardson is right there coming. And these guys are running like they just started the game 15 minutes ago.
Exactly.
You got to feel like, even though I'm sure Coach White would have liked to come in this year as the incumbent, like in past years, you got to feel like there's a little bit of, the streak was ended, and we enjoyed it while it lasted. But if you think we're not looking to start another one, you got, you got things wrong.
I think, Marcus, you learn a lot about your team right there. In the midst of when one streak ends, can you go back and think about past success, or are you going to move ahead and start a new chapter, forge a new legacy?
Free throw bounces down for Timmy Sellers.
Sellers got a good-looking body on him. Haven't been able to see too much of him tonight just because so much pressure has been applied by the guards. Haven't really been able to get the ball to him, maybe down low to, maybe see what his game's like.
Yep.
It's one of the most important things. When you have guards that can handle pressure, usually the big men are rewarded. When you have guards that cannot handle pressure, big men sometimes just are non-existent.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. I think you look at, Pace Academy with Isaiah Kelly coming in from Augusta. Augusta Christian, I believe, transferring over to Pace. You look at him joining forces with Wendell Carter, and the season outlook was very bright. But their guards have had a tough time handling pressure and getting it into a Wendell, getting it into an Isaiah Kelly, and it's made their work that much harder.
Interesting backcourt by the official right there on Richardson. I didn't think he had control of the ball, but once again, that's why I'm up here with you and not down there with them.
Right. Exactly. I'm with you on that. They have the closer angle, and then even if they had the angle and still got it wrong, their say goes. So we'll just give our 2 cents here. Close to a 30-point game, 29-point advantage now for Miller Grove. Glenn Hills continuing to fight. Power dribble, and we're going to have a foul on the play. C.J. Bowers earning a trip to the free throw line.
Bowers did a great job of scrapping in there to get that offensive rebound and take it right back up strong. Deserves to be at the line for these 2 free throws.
You mentioned learning a lot about your team, and when you hit adversity, when you run into certain things. Glenn Hills, the way they finished this game, lets you know a lot as well. You want to be able to go down fighting. Don't just give the game up. Say Glenn Hills is doing that. Continuing to fight.
Marcus, sometimes as coaches, we get over enamored by film. If I'm the Glenn Hills coach, I might show maybe 3 clips of this and I might burn it.
Yeah. Maybe two copies of this film. One to give away and one to throw away. As you see, Raylon Richardson was the nice move inside. Steal by Jackman. Jackman fouled on the play.
It's really interesting watching Richardson play because you kind of look at him. He's kind of got that hybrid body. He's really long, really lanky, plays at the top of the press, very active. You can put him in a variety of different spots. And the one thing is he's always getting his hands on balls in all different positions.
And he can lull you to sleep at times. You know, you look at him, he just has a real, you know, whether up 20, down 20, starting the game, end of the game, always got the same expression. But does a lot for this team from Miller Grove.
It's been interesting to see the number of free throws missed here tonight. Richardson with the rebound, gets it out to Young, misses the three in the corner. But once again, bad pass leads to another turnover by Glenn Hills. 30-point lead, just under 5 to go.
When we talk about Richardson and Tariq Gilbert, those are two guys. You know, I'm not much of a cards player anyway, but I wouldn't want to play cards against those guys. The poker faces are no joke, man.
No joke.
The expressions never change.
I'm going to have to talk to Coach White about that, one-on-one. Where did he come up with that poker face from?
Got it down pat, man. 30-point game, 4 minutes, 45 seconds remaining. The Grove in a position to advance in this one. And they will end up playing Cedar Grove tomorrow. So a battle of the Grove. Cedar Grove won on a half-court buzzer beater.
Incredible shot. Incredible shot.
They get it across the timeline. I can appreciate that. I can appreciate that right there by Sellers. I mean, you like the layup, but then again, I mean, you know, that layup in a 30-plus point game, it is what it is. But going up, trying to put somebody in the rim, still attacking, I can appreciate that.
Went hard to the basket, didn't finish. Ended up getting the ball back. Move on to the next play.
Yep.
Nice pass right there by Bowers. To Wade, 25 for the layup.
Tariq called for the alley-oop. They got the alley part. Oop goes out of bounds, and that's going to go back over to Glenn Hill. I think Coach White is probably going to let that be the mulligan. He's not, you know, he's in finisher mode to where, you know, it's bigger than just that particular game in terms of how he wants this team to run and certain elements he wants to see. It's always bigger than that individual game. I mean, that's not just I think that's what all good coaches.
Well, you know what? You know, as coaches, we all think about, you know, the next game. In his mind right now, it's 59-59. You know, would I make that decision with it being a tie game, you know, knowing that we need a basket, so, as opposed to being up 30. Coaches, we're a little bit of a crazy breed.
I think to do it right, you got to be. Some have a different element of crazy than others. But I think you got to have a little bit of a crazy tip to be able to do it effectively.
I'll remember that, Marcus. Definitely.
It can be in film. It can be in your coaching style on the court. I mean, there's a lot of different ways, man. That's what I like about it. Everybody has their own styles and how they do things.
Richardson knocks down a three. Then Augustin gets the steal. Hardy with the layup.
Everybody eating for Miller Grove here is number 11 checks in, George Wilson again. Seeing more action, and also number 25, Quan Seals checking in.
One of the interesting things, a lot of people probably watching this and saying, why is Miller Grove still pressing? Once again, there are certain things you still want to work on as a coach in preparation for your next games coming up during the week.
And I think with the way they press, everybody has to be able to come in and be able to keep the defensive level and intensity where it's at. You bring guys in off the bench and everything's loosey-goosey. That's not going to help them conform to if, you know, Augustin or Gilbert or Saunders gets in foul trouble, picks up a couple early fouls, and you got to be ready to play.
Once again, it keeps all hands on deck and keeps everybody, you know, locked in and focused on the game and the game plan.
You know, I'm a big 300 fan, man. You know, I love the movie, and you got to be able to kind of have that method of fighting, if you will, when it comes to being able to play at a high level and possibly hoist a championship. There's no room for any weak links anywhere.
Absolutely. As the old adage goes, sometimes you're as strong as your weakest link.
Yep. Gustin to Hardy with the lay-in. Hardy goes for a steal. It's kept in bounds by the ref. Drops it off. Wilson can't get it to go. They're still fighting. Augustin trying to pull it out of there, and he does.
Double A to energize the bunny doing what he does. Once again, great ball movement right there. No, Hardy with the 3.
I like how, man, Hardy comes in. Make no mistake, I'm here to play defense, but I'm here to eat as well.
Definitely.
He knocks that one down.
Once again, Marcus, a great job right there. Unselfish passing. You know, they're up 40 right now. Still making the extra pass. Says a lot about the team chemistry. Augustin with another layup. 1:49 to go. 71-29, Miller Grove.
The feeling of the perfect shot feels effortless to me. Right when I release that shot, it just feels serene and quiet. It's only me and the rim and the basketball. With my height, to have an impact and to be the player that I wanted to be, I needed to change my shot, and that was going to be something that would be beneficial for the long term.
Back out of the timeout. So we approach the final minute 30 or so of this one.
Glen Hill still trying to run flex.
In a no flex zone in terms of Miller Grove here today with the way they've defended. Foul going to go against Glen Hill, send Wilson to the line.
Marcus watching one of our cameramen here, Daniel, shake his head. You know, one of the things, you got to be strong with the ball.
Yep.
Glen Hills hasn't proven that tonight, and this just ended up being turnover after turnover after turnover.
Yeah, but again, we mentioned the caveat. We know it's easier said than done when you look at the pressure that's applied, but it comes down to if you're looking to win or contend with Miller Grove in the game, handling the pressure must be first before you can even talk about being able to make shots. You know, handling that pressure to get in a position to run your offense or make some plays is going to be numero uno. And it's just a series of steps you got to be able to follow, and we know it's easier said than done.
Absolutely.
But you got to have it. You look at the two teams that have been able to beat them this year. That's Lone Peak out of Utah with Jackson, Frank Jackson there, as well as Chaminade with a guy by the name of Jason Tatum, who you may or may not have heard of out there watching this.
Heard of Jason Tatum out of St. Louis very well.
Yes,
very
sir.
well. A Duke signee.
And that's what makes it tough, in Georgia. When, any team that's playing a heavy national schedule, when they come back in town, you're sort of chomping at the bit because, you got to be able to approach each game at a high level to be able to, come out of those type of schedules with a solid record. So, in-state competition, man, it's time to go.
I think another thing, too, playing a national schedule like that gives you a chance to figure out where you are on a game-by-game basis. And then now you're able to take and apply that as you get ready for league play. And eventually, making a run to win a state championship. You always want to be battle-tested, Marcus.
Yep. We're talking with Coach James Hartree here at Tucker. We were talking about Tariq Gilbert, just the type of player he is, how much of a go-getter he is at this level, and how his game would translate to the next level. And one of the things that he mentioned was how battle-tested Tariq Gilbert was, and this is a James Hartree, a coach who Miller Grove has been, in certain seasons, the bane of his existence, relatively speaking, as a coach. They've been standing in the way. They've had some epic battles. But real recognizes real in that aspect, and he mentioned battle-tested as one of the main adjectives to describe Tariq Gilbert.
And he's absolutely 100% correct. You know, he's been through it all. You know, he's won a lot. You know, he's come up on the short end. I think one of the most important things is that, you know, they have a certain swag, so to speak, when they walk out on the floor, and you got to be able to have yours, you know, to combat against them, because in their mind, at some point in those 32 minutes, they're going to impose their will. And whether it is a 40-plus point game, right now it's at 48, or if it's a 2-point game, they feel like that they're going to be able to win.
Final seconds running off the clock. That's going to do it here from the Chick-fil-A Invitational at Tucker High School. Marcus Burnett, he's Lewis Preston signing off. We appreciate you joining us here on SUV TV.